cold wind screamed through the empty streets of Varel 9, a human alien colony planet at the edge of known space. The twin moons hung low, their pale light fighting against the flickering neon signs that lined the wet streets. It was almost midnight, and the rain fell in silver sheets, sharp as glass. Ethan Hawley pulled the hood of his coat tighter. His boots splashed in shallow puddles as he hurried toward the transport station. He was an engineer, one of the humans working on power systems in this alien city. Normally, he wouldn't walk here after dark. The lower districts were dangerous, full of crime, tension, and silent hatred between species. But his shuttle had broken down, and the only path to his quarters led through this area. His earpiece buzzed. "Ethan, you still out there?" his friend Marcus asked over the comm. "Yeah," Ethan replied. "Shuttle's busted." "I'm walking back." "Walking? At this hour? You're crazy. The Lyran gangs patrol that zone." "I'll be fine," Ethan said, trying to sound confident. But even he could hear the unease in his voice. The Lyrans, tall, elegant, silver-skinned beings with luminous eyes, had once ruled this planet. Now, after decades of war and uneasy peace, humans shared their cities. But peace didn't erase bitterness. It only buried it under silence. Ethan turned a corner and stopped. A faint sound echoed through the rain. It wasn't a machine. It wasn't an echo. It was a sob. He scanned the alley to his right. Between two trash units and a glowing power line, he saw a small shape curled up on the ground. At first, he thought it was a broken android. But then the shape moved. It was a girl, small, trembling, soaked to the bone. Her skin glowed faint blue under the neon lights, and her long silver hair clung to her face. She was an alien child, a Lyran. Ethan's instincts screamed at him to leave. Helping a Lyran child could bring trouble. But another voice, quieter, stronger, told him to move closer. He knelt beside her. "Hey, are you okay?" The girl flinched and pulled away, pressing herself against the wall. Her large eyes glowed faintly in fear. Please. Don't hurt me," she whispered, her voice barely audible under the rain. Ethan raised his hand slowly. "I won't hurt you. I promise." Her tiny body shook violently. Her clothes were torn, her feet bare and bleeding. She looked half-starved. Ethan felt a twist of guilt in his chest. He removed his coat and gently wrapped it around her shoulders. The coat looked huge on her, but the warmth made her gasp softly. "Better?" he asked quietly. She blinked up at him, tears still in her eyes. "Why? You help me?" she asked in broken English. "Humans." "Not help, Lyran." Ethan gave a faint smile. "Because you're freezing. And because I'm not like them." The girl looked confused, as if she couldn't understand such kindness. Her trembling hands clutched the coat tightly. "It's warm," she murmured. "What's your name?" He asked. "Lyra," she said softly. "Okay, Lyra," Ethan said, standing. "Let's get you somewhere safe. There's a diner nearby. You can eat and warm up." She hesitated, but then nodded weakly. Ethan lifted her carefully in his arms. She was light, too light, like she hadn't eaten in days. Her cold cheek rested against his chest as he carried her through the storm. The diner sat at the corner of an old street. Its sign flickering, Nora's Canteen, open 24 hours. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of oil and coffee. A few alien workers sat quietly, avoiding eye contact with the human who had just entered carrying a Lyran child. Ethan walked to the counter. The owner, a gray-skinned alien woman with 4 eyes, froze. "Human," she hissed. "What are you doing with her?" "She's freezing and hungry," Ethan said firmly. "Please, just give her some food." The woman frowned, nervous. "Do you know who she is?" Ethan shook his head. "A lost kid, that's all I know." Murmurs spread around the diner. One alien whispered, "A human helping a Lyran child? He's insane." Another muttered, "If the Queen finds out." Ethan ignored them. He sat Lyra on a bench near the heater. Her small fingers reached toward the warmth, and a faint smile appeared on her lips, the first since he found her. When the owner brought a bowl of warm soup, Lyra stared at it for a long time, as if afraid it wasn't real. "Go ahead," Ethan said gently. "Eat," she hesitated, then began to eat in tiny, careful bites. The sight broke Ethan's heart. No child should look that hungry, that scared. He sighed and rubbed his eyes. "Where are your parents, Lyra?" Her spoon stopped halfway to her lips. Her eyes darkened. "Mother," she whispered. "She angry, angry?" Ethan repeated softly. "She said I disobey," the girl said, trembling. "She said I made shame for her house. So I run." Ethan frowned. Something about the way she said house felt strange, formal, royal almost. But before he could ask, she suddenly froze. Her eyes widened, glowing brighter. "She found me," Lyra whispered. The lights flickered. The rain outside stopped. A strange energy filled the air, heavy and cold. Ethan turned toward the window. A tall, cloaked figure stood across the street, motionless under the neon lights. Even through the glass, he could feel her presence, powerful, burning, otherworldly. The diner fell silent. Every alien inside lowered their heads in fear. The door opened by itself. Wind rushed in, making the lights tremble. The figure stepped inside, a tall woman with silver armor that shimmered like liquid metal. Her long white hair fell like a waterfall, and her golden eyes glowed with command. She wasn't just beautiful, she was terrifying. Lyra gasped. "Mother." The entire diner went silent. Several aliens dropped to their knees, whispering one word: "Queen." Ethan's blood ran cold. "Queen?" The alien queen's gaze swept the room like a blade. When her eyes met Ethan's, he felt as if gravity itself increased. His lungs tightened. The air seemed to vanish. "You," she said, her voice smooth yet deadly. "You dare touch my child?" Ethan stood frozen, still holding his coat around Lyra. "I didn't know." Silence. Her voice echoed like thunder. "Do you know what crime you have committed?" He swallowed hard. "I just helped her." She was freezing. The queen's golden eyes narrowed. "Help or kidnap?" The accusation made the entire diner tremble. The alien guards outside began to approach, their armor clanking in rhythm. Ethan raised his hand slowly. "I didn't kidnap anyone." She was alone. She was crying. Lyra suddenly stood between them, small and shaking. "No, he helped me," she cried. "He saved me, Mama." The queen looked at her daughter, really looked, and for a moment, something in her expression softened. But it disappeared as fast as it came. "You ran from the palace," she said coldly. "You broke the sacred boundary. Do you know what you have done?" Tears filled Lyra's eyes. "I just wanted to see the stars. I wanted to see how humans live." "You disobeyed me," the queen said. Her voice trembled with restrained anger and sorrow. Ethan looked between them, trying to understand. "Wait," he said. "She's your daughter? The princess?" The queen turned her gaze to him again. "You speak too much, human." Ethan's heart pounded. He could tell she wanted to take her daughter and leave, or worse, make him disappear for daring to touch royal blood. But Lyra clung to him tightly, crying, "He's kind, Mama. He's not like the others. He didn't call me a monster. He gave me his coat." The queen froze. For the first time, uncertainty flickered in her golden eyes. She glanced at the coat, still wrapped around her child, and her expression shifted. The tension in the air thinned, just a little. "What is your name, human?" She asked slowly. "Ethan. Ethan Hale." She studied him for a long moment. Then she spoke softly, almost to herself. "Your name carries an old sound. Earthborn." Warrior blood. Ethan blinked. I'm just an engineer. Perhaps, the queen said, but fate does not care for titles. She turned to Lyra. Come, child. You must return. But Lyra didn't move. If I go, you'll punish him. The queen's lips pressed into a thin line. Her soldiers waited outside, unsure whether to attack or bow. The silence stretched to dot. Finally, the queen sighed, a sound like cold wind over a mountain. No harm will come to him. For now. She looked at Ethan again. You have stepped into a world beyond your understanding. The stars remember those who touch royal blood. You may have saved a princess tonight, but you have also changed your fate. Ethan didn't understand, but he could feel the truth in her words. Something vast and ancient stirred behind her golden eyes, a power that could burn planets or heal them. She turned, her cloak swirling like a storm. Lyra looked back at Ethan one last time, tears on her cheeks. Thank you, she whispered. Don't forget me. And then they were gone. The diner door slammed shut. The rain started again. Ethan stood alone, his coat still damp with her warmth. Around him, everyone whispered fearfully. Foolish human, the owner muttered. You don't know what you've done. Ethan sat down slowly, staring at the empty seat where Lyra had been. His heart pounded. He didn't know why, but he felt that this was not the end. It was only the beginning. Outside, thunder rolled again, deep and distant. And far above the city, in the clouds, something vast moved, a shadow shaped like wings. Three suns rose over Varel 9, painting the city in silver and red light. But Ethan Hawley didn't see the beauty that morning. He sat in his small apartment, staring at the coat draped across his chair, the same one he had wrapped around the alien girl last night. Thought it was still damp, carrying a faint scent like rain and something otherworldly. He hadn't slept. The image of Lyra's glowing eyes and the queen's golden gaze haunted him. His cum link buzzed. Ethan Hawley, a mechanical voice said. You are ordered to report to Central Embassy, Level 12, Lyran Wing. Immediate compliance required. Ethan froze. The Lyran Wing was the royal zone, where no human ever entered without special permission. His stomach tightened. What if it's about last night? He whispered. He didn't have to guess. He knew it was. The Central Embassy towered over the city, a crystal spire of alien architecture that glowed with living light. Guards with silver armor stood at the gates, their weapons humming softly. When Ethan arrived, they didn't speak. They scanned his ID, then silently escorted him through winding corridors that pulsed like veins of light. Every step echoed. Every glance from the guards carried quiet suspicion. Finally, the doors opened to a vast hall, half palace, half cathedral. The ceiling was a dome of liquid light, shifting like an aurora. At the center, on a raised dais, sat Queen Seraphis of Lyran, the same being who had stared him down in the diner. Even seated, she radiated power. Her armor was gone now, replaced by flowing robes of silver silk that seemed alive. Her golden eyes watched him, calm yet unreadable. Ethan bowed awkwardly, unsure what humans were supposed to do before a space monarch. Your Majesty, you wanted to see me? Her voice flowed like cold music. You are Ethan Hawley, the human who wrapped my daughter in his coat. He nodded slowly. Yes, ma'am. I mean, yes, Your Majesty. I didn't know she was. I am aware, she interrupted gently. You acted without knowledge. That does not erase the act. Ethan blinked. I'm sorry if I did something wrong. She was in danger. The queen studied him for a long time. Then she rose from her throne, descending the stairs with silent grace. The guards bowed their heads as she passed. Do you know what happens? She asked softly. When a human touches royal blood? Ethan frowned. I didn't mean to. Answer me. He hesitated. I don't know. Then allow me to enlighten you, she said, her eyes glowing faintly. It creates a bond, a resonance between souls. Human energy is raw, unstable. And when it connects to Lyran essence, it awakens something ancient. Ethan stared. A bond? You mean like psychic? Spiritual, she corrected. And irreversible. Her words hit him like thunder. You're saying, I'm somehow linked to your daughter now. Yes, the Queen said. And that is why you are still alive. Ethan's mouth went dry. Still alive? If not for that bond, she continued calmly, my guards would have reduced you to atoms the moment you touched her. He swallowed hard. That's comforting. For the first time, a faint smile touched her lips, small, almost human. You risked yourself to protect one of my kind, without fear, without reason. That is rare among your people. I didn't think about it, Ethan admitted. She was just a kid in the cold. That, said the Queen softly, is exactly why I summoned you. The throne room doors opened again. Small footsteps echoed. Ethan turned, and there she was. Lyra. The little alien girl ran into the hall, her face lighting up when she saw him. Ethan! She cried, rushing forward. The guards moved instantly, but the Queen raised her hand. Let her. Lyra threw her arms around Ethan's leg, smiling wide. You came. Ethan knelt. Hey, kiddo. You look better. She wore a fine robe now, her silver hair brushed and braided. But her innocence, her warmth, that was still the same. The Queen's eyes softened at the sight, though she tried to hide it. Lyra has not stopped talking about you, she said quietly. She believes you saved her life. Ethan looked down at the girl, smiling faintly. I think she's exaggerating. Lyra shook her head. No, I was so cold. I thought I'd die. But you gave me warm. Her glowing eyes shimmered. You kind. Not all humans kind. The Queen looked away, hiding emotion behind her regal mask. Lyra, return to your chamber. But now. The girl's shoulders slumped. She looked at Ethan sadly, then whispered, Promise you come again? Ethan smiled. Promise. When she was gone, silence filled the hall again. The Queen turned back to him. You have earned my daughter's trust. That makes you valuable. And dangerous. Dangerous? Ethan frowned. How? She studied him. There are those within my court who despise humans. They believe our alliance is weakness. Last night's event gave them reason to act. They claim you bewitched the princess. Ethan blinked. What? That's insane. Insane, the Queen agreed, but politically useful. And some of my own council members now whisper of executing you to restore balance. Ethan stared at her, heart pounding. So, you brought me here to protect you, she interrupted quietly. And to test you. Test me? She walked toward a massive window overlooking the glowing city. Long ago, humans and Lyrains fought a war that scarred this world. The peace we have now is fragile. There are those who wish to break it. You may help me prevent that. Ethan blinked. Me? I'm just an engineer. The Queen's eyes gleamed. No, you are something else now. The bond you share with my daughter means you can sense her thoughts, her feelings, even danger near her. He felt a chill. You're saying I can feel her? You already have, she said. Did you not wake last night before dawn, feeling fear that was not your own? Ethan froze. He had. Around 3 a.m., he jolted awake, heart racing for no reason. The Queen nodded. That was Lyra. She dreamed of the night she fled the palace. He tried to process it all, the bond, the danger, the politics. What do you want me to do? The Queen's golden eyes hardened. Protect her. From the shadows rising inside my own empire. Ethan stared at her in disbelief. I'm not a soldier. No, she said. You are human, and that makes you unpredictable. The enemy will not expect me to trust one of your kind. Her tone softened. You saved my daughter once by accident. I ask you to do it again, this time by choice. Ethan hesitated, then nodded slowly. If she's in danger, I'll help. But why would anyone want to hurt her? The queen turned back to the window. Because she is heir to a peace that many hate. Her existence unites our species. If she falls, so does everything. That night, Ethan was given temporary quarters inside the Lyrian Palace, a breathtaking structure grown from crystal and living vines. The walls glowed faintly, reacting to touch and mood. He couldn't sleep. His mind was spinning. He stood on the balcony, staring at the alien skyline. Ships moved between towers like fireflies. Somewhere in the upper levels, the princess was probably asleep, or so he thought. A faint sound came from behind him, a whisper. Ethan? He turned. Lyra stood at the doorway, barefoot in her silver night robe, her hair glowing faintly in the moonlight. She smiled shyly. You can't sleep? He chuckled softly. Guess not. She walked over and stood beside him, looking at the city below. It's pretty, isn't it? But sometimes I feel it's not real. What do you mean? She sighed. Everyone smiles at me because I'm the princess. But nobody really sees me. They only see my mother's power. You're the first who treated me like I'm just Lyra. Ethan felt a lump in his throat. Maybe that's because I didn't know you were a princess. She laughed softly, a sweet musical sound. Then don't start now. They stood there for a while in silence. The bond between them pulsed faintly, warm, comforting. But then, Lyra's smile faded. She looked up at him, her voice trembling. Do you feel that? Feel what? Fear, she whispered. It's coming closer. Ethan frowned. The air suddenly grew colder. A shadow passed across the balcony wall. Before he could react, the glass beside them shattered with a sharp crack. A black shape leapt through the air, humanoid, armored, moving like liquid. Ethan grabbed Lyra and pulled her down as a blade of glowing red energy slashed past his face, missing by inches. Guards shouted in the distance. The assassin hissed, its voice mechanical. Target located. Terminate. Ethan rolled behind a pillar, shielding Lyra with his body. Stay down. The creature lunged again. Ethan kicked a loose shard of glass into its visor. It staggered. The human grabbed a fallen guard's plasma baton and swung wildly. The weapon connected with a crack of light, sending the assassin crashing into the railing. It tried to recover, but the palace alarms blared. In seconds, guards flooded the balcony. Blaster fire filled the air, and the attacker fell backward into the darkness below, vanishing. Lyra trembled in his arms. They tried to kill me, she whispered. Ethan held her tight. Not on my watch. Moments later, Queen Seraphis stormed into the room, her eyes blazing with fury and fear. When she saw Ethan protecting her daughter, she froze. For a heartbeat, she said nothing, then softly, so it begins. That night changed everything. The Queen ordered every corridor locked. She ordered her scientists to analyze the assassin's remains, but none were found. Whoever sent that thing had deep access, maybe from inside the palace. And as the alarms faded, Ethan realized something far worse. He could feel the princess's terror inside his own mind, and beyond it. A darker echo, watching them both from somewhere in the stars. Alarms echoed through the palace like thunder. The night had turned to chaos. Guards ran through glowing corridors, shouting orders in both human standard and Lyran tongue. Ethan Hawley stood beside Princess Lyra in the corner of the shattered balcony, his body still shaking from adrenaline. The Queen, Seraphis of Lyran, strode in with her elite guards. her golden eyes burning brighter than the stars above. She looked at the broken glass, at the scorched walls, and finally at her trembling daughter. For the first time, her royal calm cracked. "Who did this?" she demanded, her voice shaking with fury. No one answered. The guards spread out, scanning the area. The assassin was gone. Only a faint metallic scent lingered in the air. Ethan stepped forward. "It wasn't human," he said firmly. "It moved too fast. Its body wasn't flesh. It looked manufactured." The Queen turned her gaze on him. "You fought it?" "I didn't have a choice," Ethan replied. It came straight for her. Sci-Fi studied him for a long, tense moment. Then she gave a single nod. "You have courage, human. Foolish courage. But courage still." Later that night, the Queen called a secret council. Ethan was summoned again, this time to a smaller, darker chamber beneath the throne room. The walls were covered in shifting light patterns, Lyran technology that recorded emotion instead of sound. Only 3 other beings were there: General Tarith, the Queen's war advisor; Elder Siona, a wise seer; and Lyra, sitting silently beside her mother. The Queen began. The attacker was no random killer. It bore the mark of the Shadow Order. General Tarith stiffened. "Impossible. That order was destroyed after the treaty." "Apparently not," Sci-Fi said grimly. "Someone rebuilt it. And they want my daughter dead." Ethan frowned. "Why her?" The Queen looked at him. "Because she represents peace. The first child born after the human-Lyran war. Both sides see her as a symbol. To destroy her is to destroy everything we built." The room fell silent. Ethan's stomach twisted. He looked at Lyra, so small, so innocent, and thought of how close she had come to dying. "Then we protect her," he said. The Queen's eyes softened, just a little. "You would risk your life for someone not of your kind?" Ethan smiled faintly. "I already did." That answer seemed to surprise her. For a moment, the Queen's royal mask slipped. "Then perhaps," she said slowly, "the bond between you was not an accident." Over the next few days, the palace transformed. Guards filled the corridors. Security drones hummed in the skies. Ethan was assigned a small room near Lyra's chambers, officially as a temporary consultant. Unofficially, everyone knew he was there to protect her. He wasn't trained for this. He was just an engineer. But each night, as he sat awake, he could feel her presence, a gentle echo in the back of his mind. When she dreamed, he saw flashes, stars, shadows, and sometimes a face, the same face that had attacked them. On the 4th night, he went to see the Queen. She was standing on a balcony overlooking the glowing city, her robe fluttering in the soft alien wind. "You look tired," she said without turning. "I'm fine," he replied. "But I think I'm seeing her dreams." "That is the bond," she said quietly. "It grows stronger each day. Soon, your mind and hers will share a single thread." "Is that dangerous?" "For you? Perhaps. Humans are not built for such links. But for her, it could save her life." Ethan exhaled. "Then I'll handle it." The Queen turned toward him, studying his face in the moonlight. "You are not like most of your kind." "I'm just a man who couldn't walk away," he said. For the first time she smiled, not as a queen, but as a mother. "That may be why the stars chose you." The next morning, an emergency signal spread through the palace. The Lyran satellites detected a massive energy surge near the northern border, an explosion of unknown origin. The Queen's commanders reported destroyed outposts, dead soldiers, and strange debris that hummed with human technology. Within hours, the human government denied involvement. "Not our forces," they said. "We're being framed." But the Lyran Council didn't believe them. The peace between the two species began to crack. Protests filled the streets. Old hatred rose again. Ethan stood with the Queen in the war room as angry voices filled the air. General Tareth slammed his fist on the table. Enough talk. They broke the treaty. They did not, Serafi said sharply. This is manipulation. The Shadow Order wants us to fight. Then let us give them war. War, she hissed, is what they want. Her eyes glowed with anger, her voice echoing in the hall. The council fell silent. Then she looked at Ethan. You have seen the human side. What do you believe? Ethan hesitated. If this Shadow Order wants chaos, they'll use both sides' fear. They'll make it look like we're attacking each other until peace collapses. The Queen nodded slowly. Exactly. General Tareth frowned. Then how do we stop them? Ethan looked up at the glowing map. Find where that energy came from. Trace it. I can help. I worked with fusion reactors. The signature looked human-built, but the power pattern is Lyrian. The Queen raised an eyebrow. A hybrid? Yeah, Ethan said grimly. Someone's mixing our tech to frame both species. That night, Ethan and a small team traveled north in a stealth craft. Lyra begged to go, but the Queen refused. He will come back, she told her daughter softly. You will feel it through the bond. The icy plain stretched beneath the dark sky. When they reached the site, Ethan's stomach turned. The ground was scorched black. Huge metal fragments jutted from the earth, weapons unlike anything either side had built. He examined a twisted panel, brushing off ash. It pulsed faintly with blue light, Lyran crystal fused to human steel. They built this together, he whispered. Whoever they are, they've been working in secret. Before he could finish scanning, the sensors screamed. Heat signatures, dozens of them, surrounded them. Ambush! Shouted one of the soldiers. Figures emerged from the fog, half human, half machine. Their armor black as night, their eyes glowing crimson. The same mark blazed on their chests. The Shadow Order. Ethan grabbed a blaster from the fallen guard and fired. Blue light cut through the smoke. Fall back! The air burned with plasma. One by one, his team fell. Ethan ducked behind wreckage, heart pounding. Then he heard a voice, smooth, metallic, and horribly familiar. You shouldn't have come. Human. From the smoke stepped the assassin who had attacked Lyra, alive, its mask cracked, revealing a pale Lyran face underneath. You're not a machine, Ethan breathed. No, the creature hissed. We are both. Created by her enemies. And yours. Why target Lyra? Because her death will light the fire that ends peace. The Queen will blame your kind. The war will return. And in that chaos we rise. Ethan aimed his weapon. Not happening. The assassin lunged. Ethan rolled aside and fired again. The blast hit its chest, sending it backward, but it didn't fall. It roared, energy crackling around its body. Suddenly, Ethan felt a burning pain in his head, and then a voice. Ethan! It was Lyra inside his mind. He gasped. Lyra, how? I can see you. You're in danger. I know. He shouted aloud, firing again. Hold on, she whispered. I'm coming. What no? Stay. But the link cut off. Back in the palace, alarms blared again. Lyra's eyes glowed bright white. She stood, her small hands trembling. He's hurt, she whispered. The Queen rushed to her side. Lyra, what are you doing? The bond. I can follow it. Before the Queen could stop her, the child's body shimmered and dissolved into pure light, the ancient Lyrian teleportation gift. Serafi shouted her name. But it was too late. Out on the plains. The assassin pinned Ethan against the wreckage, its blade inches from his throat. Any last words, human? Yeah, Ethan gritted. You picked the wrong kid to mess with. A blinding light exploded behind them. The air screamed as energy rippled across the field. When it cleared, Lyra stood there, her eyes burning like twin stars. "Leave him alone," she shouted. The assassin turned. "Little princess." Before it could move, Lyra raised her hands. Energy burst from her palms, striking the creature with a wave of light. It screamed, half machine, half soul, and shattered into dust. Ethan collapsed to his knees, gasping. Lyra ran to him, wrapping her arms around his neck. "You're safe," she whispered. He laughed weakly. "You shouldn't have come, kid." She smiled. "You told me once. Heroes don't walk away." Moments later, the Queen's fleet arrived. Seraphis herself stepped down from her ship, her robe whipping in the cold wind. When she saw her daughter alive, she closed her eyes, whispering a silent prayer. She looked at Ethan. "You protected her again. Even the gods must be watching you." Ethan shook his head. "She saved me this time." The Queen smiled faintly. "Then perhaps peace still has hope." Weeks later, peace talks resumed. Evidence from the battlefield proved that the Shadow Order had used hybrid tech to start war. Both human and Lyran leaders signed a new treaty, stronger than before. At the ceremony, the Queen stood before the council, her daughter beside her, and announced, "The bond between my child and this human is proof that trust can grow where fear once ruled. Let this day mark a new dawn." Applause echoed through the hall. Ethan stood quietly in the back, feeling out of place. When it ended, Lyra ran to him, smiling. "Will you stay?" He hesitated. "If I stay, I'll just cause more attention." She looked sad. "Then at least promise you'll come back." He smiled, kneeling to meet her eyes. "Promise." The Queen approached, her expression softer than ever. "Wherever you go, human, remember, the stars owe you a debt."